Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's Monday, obviously, and painfully, it's also the 10th day of August, and regardless of what day it is, glad to have you with us tonight. Way too many headlines to really spend much time prefacing those headlines. We will jump pretty much right into the news tonight. A lot of COVID related reports, a lot of new cases locally since I saw you last. Of course, press release concerning the opening of schools from our governor. The Harold Whitaker Middle School burglarized, the men caught on tape and then caught just a short distance thereafter away from the scene of the crime, lying on a couch and hiding in a bathroom, and a whole lot of other important news and updates for you. So let's go ahead and get to them beginning right now. One actually comes from a follow-up where an Eastern Kentucky physician and his physician's assistant, also his wife, both entered guilty pleas in federal court to unlawfully distributing opioids and other controlled substances during a time that they did not have a legitimate medical practice and reason to do so. 48-year-old Scotty Akers of Pikeville, a licensed physician, and his 33-year-old wife, Sarisa, former office assistant, both of Pikeville, pleaded guilty to unlawfully distributing controlled substances, and as part of the plea, Scotty Akers has also agreed to pay back some $12,000 in restitution. Their sentencing, no information released on it except for the date, November the 20th, but no guidelines have been released as to how long they may be facing per their guilty pleas. They admitted to using Facebook to sell unnecessary prescriptions for opioids, and their plea agreements do also indicate that Sarisa Akers exchanged prescriptions that were written by her husband, Dr. Scotty Akers, for cash in parking lots around the Pikeville area. And they also admitted that they did not do any type of physical or any type of examination on any of these patients or persons, if you will, in any of these parking lots. And there were no records kept. And they also continued operating this opioid delivery scheme even after they were known to have came under investigation, and literally up until the moment that Dr. Scotty Akers' medical license was suspended. Again, they are set to be sentenced in November. A Johnson County man was arrested in another part of state last week. We're still trying to track down reports, but the initial reports that I can confirm indicate that this man was found to be in possession, after he was found on the side of the road, of about 100 pounds of cocaine on his way, I believe, back to Paintsville. This is a mugshot of a Johnson County man, 67-year-old Paul Branham of Paintsville. And before I go into this report, I did look with the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center jail records. He has one arrest there back maybe in '06 or '07. I don't think it was anything drug related, but according to his charges in this case, he has at least one prior cocaine arrest. Now, this one taking place last Wednesday when he was lodged in the Hardin County Detention Center and set with a court appearance for today. I don't have the outcome of that as of yet, but the 67-year-old Paintsville man was jailed on Wednesday, and then the following day, Thursday of last week, secured enough of a $75,000 bond to be put on bail. All this after Wednesday, he was found on the shoulder of Kentucky Interstate 65. He was driving a 2015 black Chevy Silverado near the 92-mile marker on the shoulder when a trooper came upon the vehicle. No other details given about the initial contact with Branham except to say that the K9 unit hit on a controlled substance odor that was coming from his pickup truck. And after some searching, they found about 50 kilograms or 110 pounds of cocaine packaged for resale. So right now, all I can add is that Branham is charged with second offense, first-degree trafficking in a controlled substance, cocaine, and that during the course of the encounter and the subsequent investigation, drugs and cash, no amount was given, were recovered and taken into evidence. Once again, we'll try to gather some more details soon. The fields and the stands may be empty, and big events as we know them are just gone for 2020, but there is still a real need that's out there. Magoffin County Community Day needs your support. For the past 16 years, Community Day has been instrumental in helping our local nonprofits and civic groups raise the funds for all the good things they do for our community. And this year, instead of the traditional event, the 2020 Magoffin County Community Day fundraising activities are going to continue with an online fundraiser that's open until August the 31st. Where gifts can be made online at bgcf.givingfuel.com/communityday to support our 18 local nonprofits who need your help now more than ever. All the money raised will be split equally between those groups, and most importantly, for every dollar you donate, the foundation will match it with $2 up to $35 grand. That means your gift of $20 becomes $60, or your gift of $100 becomes $300 to support those important programs and crucial services provided by our local nonprofits. So please go to bgcf.givingfuel.com/communityday and donate today. Car accidents don't stop. Accidents at work don't stop. Disability and SSI cases don't stop. Your legal needs and concerns don't stop for the coronavirus, and neither does McFarland and Tinker. They are open, able to schedule appointments per CDC guidelines, and always available for telephone and video conferences. Please, be safe, be smart, stay home, and don't let your legal needs fall victim to the pandemic. Call McFarland and Tinker and let them take care of them for you. Summer heat and no AC make for a miserable drive, but don't sweat it. Call Black Smoke Performance in Sayersville for inspection, diagnostics, and repair by qualified technicians with the latest technology and equipment. Don't suffer in the summer heat. Get your air conditioning fixed today at Black Smoke Performance. Oh, it's what a lot of you have been waiting for. They're back, but only for a limited time. Loaded potato wedges at your Sayersville Lee's famous recipe. That's right, our famous hand-cut homemade potato wedges smothered in cheddar cheese, real crispy bacon, topped with either sour cream or ranch, your choice, and they're still only $2.49 with tax. Get them while you can at your Sayersville Lee's. The seasonal shop is open, and they're still doing curbside pickup, so you can call and place orders, and they'll still bring them out to you. And inside, you'll find all new merchandise throughout the entire store, all new spring and summer women's clothing from Charlie Page and Mud Pie, accessories, jewelry, shoes, and bags too, casual outfits for everyday or special occasion outfits and dresses. And if you've been home a lot and really want to freshen up your decor, they have so much to choose from, and they're happy to give you any fresh ideas that you might need. And just in, a large selection of Simply Southern and Candleberry at Fraser's Prater Drugs seasonal shop in downtown Sayersville. Several arrests to bring you this evening. In my absence on Friday, we would have had this following report for you, as it was very early Friday morning, around 2 or 3 in the a.m., that the following two men you're about to see broke their way into the Harold Whitaker Middle School, stayed there for hours, making themselves quite at home before leaving with thousands of dollars worth of stolen goods, stealing everything from electronics to clothing from the Family Resource Youth Service Center in the school. Over $15,000 and counting, school personnel have told me earlier today. The two suspects were caught hours later sleeping and hiding in a Dixie residence just hundreds of yards from the middle school. Here's a couple of still frames of the two suspects taken out of a lot of video, a portion of which you'll see. Friday morning, an employee at Sayersville Grade School reported for work and found what turned out to be a lot of the stolen items from the nearby Harold Whitaker Middle School that two thieves had left behind sitting outside between the schools. Sometime around 2 or 3 in the a.m. Friday morning, these two men are accused of using a screwdriver and prying their way in through a back door at the middle school and then roaming the halls and rooms and offices for 2 to 3 hours, burglarizing the school, all the while several high-definition, obviously, security cameras followed them throughout the facility as they loaded up everything they could and wheeled garbage cans and carts taking literally everything that they could get their hands on. Laptop computers, dry erase markers that were purchased for the students to take home, clothing from the Family Resource Youth Service Center, medical supplies from the school's nursing station, sporting equipment, archery, and bows, several items, and the list goes on. They even stopped to shoot a few hoops and were documented to at least be wearing their PPE during the entire fiasco. They were in the school for, like I said, a total of hours, and you can see the video showing them exit. When they did exit, they wheeled out all of their loot, but they didn't make it away with all of it. Some of it found outside the middle school, some of it found out, I believe, towards the cut-through area there behind the middle school. It didn't take officers long to find them thereafter. Officers Holbrook and Marshall with the Magoffin County Sheriff's Department literally the next morning after daylight followed a trail of spilled or dropped belongings from the school and literally followed the two suspects to a residence on Combs Street, which is on Sugar Camp, or off of Sugar Camp Road, which is, of course, off Dixie Avenue, which is just across the river and the way there from the Harold Whitaker Middle School. It was there that the officers reportedly found two men, one asleep on a couch of a residence that belonged, I believe, to someone else, and the other of the two was found hiding in a closet. The two are said to be brothers, both 29 years of age, and both were arrested and facing serious charges as the investigation continues and as the list continues to grow of the items that they took and or damaged. Right now, middle school personnel telling me that they believe 29-year-old Eric Fletcher and 29-year-old Elwood Fletcher of Sayersville left behind $15,000 and counting in stolen goods and damages. A lot of damage left behind. They took radios that the school personnel used to communicate with. The list just goes on and on. Both were charged with burglary in the second degree, criminal mischief, and theft by unlawful taking over $10,000, and both are still lodged in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. We'll be talking with school personnel about how serious of a hit this is for them, and of course, there's never a good time, but this perhaps one of the worst, and we'll hope to have an update on the entire investigation for you at a later time as well. Another man has been arrested by the Magoffin County Sheriff's Department and is in the news this evening at around 1:43 this morning in the Bloomington Branch area. The Sheriff's Department responded to a 911 call of a man holding a gun on a woman up on a hill near a campsite in the Bloomington Branch area. An arrest citation penned by Officer Cottle with the Magoffin County Sheriff's Department indicates that his information led him to believe that there was a group near a campsite, and upon his arrival he found this man, Harold Reisner, operating an ATV on the roadway nearby, and then when the officer tried to make a traffic stop, he fled and ran from authorities, but he was caught a short distance down the road when he got his ATV as far as he could from police and couldn't make it any further. Witnesses on the scene, however, confirmed or told police that Reisner and a female were there, as well as two other people, and that he'd struck his girlfriend in the face. There was an altercation between two women because one of them would not drink and consume alcohol as the others were, because she had two small children, and somewhere along the line the altercation erupted between he and one of the females, striking her for reasons that she wouldn't consume the alcohol, says the citation. Reisner was charged with fleeing or evading police in the first degree, assault in the fourth degree, and operating a motor vehicle under the influence of drugs or alcohol, first offense. And one of the last few reports before we start our COVID update coverage for this Monday, an ATV accident very early yesterday morning here in Magoffin County in the Oakley area, where a young man, I believe around the age of 19, in approximation, was seriously injured in a single vehicle, that being a four-wheeler accident. He was found by motorists early Sunday morning after the ATV had struck a rock wall and overturned. As I understand, they believe the rider was traveling on Oakley from the Tip Top area, somewhere around Bee Tree, when he lost control of the four-wheeler and hit the rock wall that you can see there plainly to the right of your screen. I'm told that the male, who I believe was also the only occupant or rider on the machine, was lying in or near the roadway and not moving when a motorist came upon him lying there unconscious. They would have, that being EMS and rescue personnel, life flighted him for the severity of his head injuries. However, due to heavy fog, it was a no-fly zone at the time. He was thus taken to the Palby Hall Medical Center by ground ambulance, and from there transported by ground ambulance to the air evac base at the airport in Martin County, where there was no fog, and then from there he was life flighted to a trauma center for the severity of his injuries. I'm told that a helmet was not in use. Connolly Tire in Staffordsville is now a proud partner of Rough Country for all of your suspension and lift kit applications. And you can always go to ConnollyTire.net to get the latest offers. Like right now, $100 when you buy a set of Mickey Thompsons, $100 on a set of Continentals, and many, many more summer deals, including $35 computer diagnostics. That's Connolly Tire in Staffordsville, 297-2424. Come to Parkway Pharmacy in Sayersville and get your prescriptions filled, your over-the-counter medications, and immune system boosters, all from the safety and comfort of your own vehicle, either in their drive-thru or with their new curbside service. You can also call ahead or just download the MyGNP app, that's Good Neighbor Pharmacy, and refill and manage your prescriptions right from your device, helping you and yours stay healthy and safe. Parkway Pharmacy in Sayersville, 349-4400. Your Magoffin County COVID update coming up in just a few moments, where there has been, I can tell you this, at least one new case every day since I've seen you last, and that also includes today. I'm still getting those numbers and information together. I'll have that for you in just a second. Let's talk about the state update today, where we kind of had a hint as to the announcement that the governor was going to make. But before we get to that, let me pass this along to you. I was actually in a store over the course of the weekend since I saw you, where a woman had walked in asking those who work there where the gator neck or face coverings were. I really wasn't familiar with what they were, even though I've seen them. I just didn't know the proper term. Now they're in the headlines, and I want you to really listen to this. So, as we have hit across the nation today, officially, more than 5 million Americans infected with the coronavirus, experts with those numbers and all the other numbers that we are seeing are continuing to try to hammer home how important it is to wear a facial covering or mask, saying that if everyone in America would just wear the mask, literally the pandemic will be brought under control within a matter of a few weeks. So in light of that, there's been a study done, not just anywhere, but at the Duke University School of Medicine. It's been published in Science Advances, as they compared very popular masks. The most secure, the N95. I don't think that's anything new. It leads to the transmission of a droplet, if you will, coming out of your mouth of below 0.1%. So that means 0.1% below that, the chance of getting infected or infecting someone if you're wearing an N95. The very popular handmade polypropylene and cotton masks that a lot of folks are making, some of which made from apron material. Well, they're pretty effective, you'll be glad to know. Droplet transmission ranging from 0.1 to 0.4%. I thought that was really, really good. One mask they studied was knitted, and they said it actually released a higher number of droplets compared to those, up to 0.6%. But none of the masks compared with the neck fleece, the ever popular gator, if you will, which had a 110% droplet transmission. Yeah, net gators, 110%. That means that they're worse than actually not wearing a mask. How is that possible? Well, researchers explained it like this, essentially, that fleece material, or the very popular neck gaiter material, essentially would take the large droplets that are coming out of your mouth if you wore one, and then make them much smaller, cutting them up into pieces, if you will, as they passed through the material, and thus making them actually spread even further and worse. So they're worse, they say, than not wearing a mask at all. Just wanted to let you know. So the governor, in his update today, prefaced it by saying that today's numbers were artificially low, and in fact, it was reported over the weekend that it looked as though if we added up the last week's numbers and compared them to the week before that, we were about 300 or 400 less, but apparently there were some electronic or IT issues in calculating and reporting. And then when corrected, that wasn't the case. We were either at or even more than what we had the week before for last week's numbers. So he said that taking that into effect, taking into effect the significant increase in infections in our children, not just in Kentucky, but in the entire nation, and in seeing what's happening in other states where they're opening schools and maybe getting a day or two in before they have to shut down schools or classes altogether because of positive cases, and in talking with school superintendents from all across the Commonwealth earlier today, that he was making the decision and the recommendation for schools to not consider reopening until September the 28th. Now, that is 6 weeks from now, but for Magoffin County, it's really, as well, only 20 days past what their scheduled start date was of September the 8th.
So our recommendation today is that schools wait to begin in-person classes until September the 28th. Yes, that's about 6 weeks from now. But it's also 6 weeks from what I hope is the peak of this virus. 6 weeks from the last 3 weeks where we have been pretty much at all-time high week in and week out. 6 weeks from a time when we just had a 6% positivity rate. Let's face it, we're trying really hard. And we've got good steps that we've taken. Masks are working, but we do not have control over this virus. And to send tens of thousands of our kids back into in-person classes when we don't have control on this virus isn't the right thing to do for our kids. It's not the right thing to do for their faculty, and it's not the right thing to recommend as governor. And there are some that'll, I know that'll say this is, a decision being made by the governor. It's a decision being made by the virus. We're living through our pandemic. Whether this is our Spanish flu, whether this is our version of the plague, and if you think about it that way, we're pretty blessed compared to what happened then. It's not going to be easy. And lots of sacrifices are going to be made, and yes, our kids are falling behind. My kids are in that developmental time when they need to be in school. But their overall health and safety, along with that of their teachers and others, has to be paramount. And we have to have a plan that has an opportunity of working. So a tough but a necessary step. And again, I believe we're going to be through this beginning of next year when the vaccine gets out. But until then, we're going to have to make difficult choice after difficult choice to survive. And surviving and protecting each other is what we are trying to do.
From there, moving on to some financial matters, perhaps the best news or only good news that came out of the press conference today pertained to the general fund and road fund receipts. The general fund for the first of the fiscal year, our fiscal year starts July the 1st, and shows both, actually, the road fund and general funds up 7% over last year, in part, he says, because of the CARES Act, which also includes that $600 additional unemployment for so many Kentuckians, and that those so many Kentuckians are doing what they need to do and spending those dollars, and it's having a positive effect on the state's economy. However, he says that the outlook down the road is not as positive, saying that Washington is going to have to get it together to stave off a financial crisis for Kentuckians.
And so the federal government is going to have to come to some compromise and or the executive order from the president is going to have to be changed in a way that continues some level of that support. Without it, every state is going to be faced with incredible difficulty. The executive order that was put out by the president, I believe, was an attempt at moving forward. I will say from a state standpoint, it's not workable in its current form, and hopefully either it will be revised or even better, Congress will actually come to an agreement.
Now, going on to your local COVID update for this Monday. I did speak with our Public Health Director, Pete Shepard, just a few moments ago via the phone, and he confirmed that we've had a positive case, at least one, every day since I saw you, and several today. There was one new case reported Saturday, which he says can be traced back to the positive cases that came out of the Johnson County Church service some weeks ago. We've been following, of course, as they have given us permission to, the father and son, which are still in the hospital, one still in ICU, which tested positive after that service, and I believe that the case Saturday is a relative of those two men. There was a case reported yesterday in Magoffin County that can be traced back to one of the federal jail guards that worked at the Martin County Prison, and then there was one case reported earlier this afternoon, and actually two more reported thereafter, so for a total of 3 cases reported today. I don't have any specifics or logistics about those, but 2 over the course of the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 1 each day, 3 today. Puts us, I believe, at a total of 44 positive cases here in Magoffin County, and right now we believe they have at least 3 people hospitalized as a result of the coronavirus from Magoffin County. With about 1,383 tested thus far, 22 people still in isolation, 19 recovered, and again, 24 in isolation now, I guess, or 25, and at least 3 still in the hospital. We'll talk with Shepard personally tomorrow and get more information on today's cases and numbers, as well as any between now and then. Now, I don't have to cut a few things out this evening. Calendar, obituaries, I'm sorry, just completely ran out of time with all of the news that came in today. Real quickly, let me go into your Licking Valley RACC outlook. As you see, we're looking at more of a stormy pattern. Well, I don't want to say stormy, maybe not as many storms associated with what's coming, but definitely some shower and storm chances. Let's leave it at that. Tonight's low of 66 degrees will be accompanied by continuing partly cloudy skies and about a 60% chance of some showers and thunderstorms, mainly up before about 3 a.m. Nothing happening right now in the immediate future, but a chance thereof tonight. We'll see near 90 tomorrow, 89, mostly sunny for your Tuesday. And you can work in a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon tomorrow after 3. Wednesday, still in the upper 80s, still partly sunny, an increased chance, or maybe even a likelihood of showers and thunderstorms for your Wednesday at 60%. And then Thursday, almost exactly the same. Another 88-degree day with partly sunny skies and a lesser but still close 50% chance of showers and storms Thursday. And that pattern just hangs on. Upper 80s and some sun and some shower chances throughout your entire forecast period. So it's a pattern that we're going to be under for quite some time. 87 Friday, 87 Saturday, 86 Sunday, 88 Monday, and there you see partly sunny, mostly sunny on one day, and pretty much a very consistent 50% chance of showers and storms across the board. So that's going to take my time for this evening. Thank you for being with us. I'll get back with some calendar and other announcements tomorrow and some other news that we're going to be a little bit short on time to get to tonight. So enjoy the rest of your Monday, and I'll see you then. And thank you for watching.